We've wrapped up off the record, and now it's time for me to give my thoughts and opinions about this mystery. First, let's talk about the red herrings, and once again, a red herring, in this case, is definition number four something, especially a clue, that is or is intended to be misleading or distracting. So, in this mystery, the red herrings would be the Judith and Ashley situation. Like that turned out to be nothing having to do with the case. Um, Harold's affair really turned out to have nothing to do with the case. Valdivan and the protest really turned out to have nothing to do with the case. Those are red herrings just to get us looking one way. Um, and the real thing is actually in a different direction. I thought that this was a good mystery box to me. It seemed almost too easy though. The accident, the accident Lewis story was really obvious to me from the moment it was introduced. I even commented in episode I think two um, that it seemed obvious before we even knew that Ashley was looking into it. I also feel like the conclusion with Kim was a little too obvious. Harold had zero motive going into box six. If the truth was exposed, he wasn't really guilty of much of anything. Maybe tampering with an investigation or whatever, but that wasn't going to result to much of anything. The references to Kim's mom being in the convalescence home in the early episodes, in my mind, always stood out because we were told that for a reason. Her comments overheard on that Val Home Assistant device, that when she was telling TFC that he needs to tell her about problems so that she can take care of them, and then the overall lack of really any TFC content made Kim the obvious choice to me before we even got this box. I mean, TFC was mentioned, but he didn't have really a storyline like Harold and Judith did. He wasn't featured in as many arguments or discussions or whatever, even at the country club. Like it was Kim who was talking to the staff. Real, granted, that was her job. I just felt like Kim had more exposure than TFC did, except for the situation with the accident, which, yeah, is motive, but they didn't. I don't think they really did a good job pointing us in that direction. Having said all that, the twist at the end with Franny being in trouble, along with the more in-depth cipher, actually boosted my overall feelings about Off the Record. I almost got a sense of urgency when trying to get into Ashley's blog, so good job to Hunter Killer for making box six the best box in the whole set. I love the presentation, and even though I feel like this is the easiest of the two mysteries we've done, so far, the complexity of the story, the clues, and the characters, that group of things is amazing. Just because I commented on it being easier doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. Each box was engaging and helped to draw the story out further. Also keep in mind that what I find easy, others may think is hard. Likewise, what I find difficult, others may breeze right through. People can look at things and get a completely different impressions or opinions. So that brings us, of course, to the Franny Letters. And I mentioned that it bothers me several times. And I'm going to tell the story again that I told the first time I talked about it bothering me. When I was in college, I took a creative writing workshop class. And so we would have a weekly assignment, write a story. When you're done, bring enough copies to pass it out to the class, have everyone look at it, and they would give you the review of the story. They would critique it, sometimes harshly. But I had written a story about a gun being in a room, sitting on a desk, and it was just sitting on the desk, and I was just trying to give filler. The guy was like a federal agent or something, had a gun on his desk. I was just trying to set up the way his living room looked. His gun and his badge were on the desk. And I presented the story. And everyone in class, including the instructor, told me that I can't do that. You apparently there's an unwritten literary rule that you can't write a gun into a scene and not have it go off. And I sort of feel that way about these letters. I don't understand how an IT expert hacker who spends her entire life on the computer and on her phone would print the letters. I mean, print them to send them to us. Yes, I get that. But then write comments and stuff all over them. I feel like normal people do if they're typing a letter and want to offer an aside comment, they put it in parentheses in the middle of the paragraph or following whatever they're trying to give a commentary on. And it just doesn't make sense to me. To me, this isn't right. This is bad. I don't want to say bad character development, but pretty close. You can't offer this. You can't have this. And in my mind, this was almost more distracting than anything else in the box. Just why is she writing on these letters? Why is she writing on these letters? And I get it that maybe that's just them trying to give her a characteristic, but I mean, is it a compulsion? Does she have to write on letters? And if so, you need to give us more clues to that. I just feel like this was something that I'm having a hard time getting over. I don't know how anybody else feels about Franny's letters. Please let me know if I'm just being ridiculous or if this bothered anybody else too. And then on the difficulty scale, and I'm giving a difficulty scale based on the cipher difficulty. This is a 1 through 5 scale. I probably won't give any 1s, and I probably won't give any 5s. Because 5 is the top of the line. 5 means it is the most difficult on a 1 through 5 scale. And Mallory Rock wasn't difficult. I gave it a 4. Off the Record is right on the border of 2 and 3, and I gave it a 3 because of the last box, the last ciphers that we were given. I think they had a slight difficulty factor to them when you had to figure out the clues for solving it. So in my opinion, it got a 3. Overall, it was, like I said, it was a good story. I enjoyed it. I am glad that I did it. And I would recommend it to others to do. Like I said, the different adventures are going to have different difficulty. That's just the way it's going to be. Some are going to be easier than others. Some are going to be harder than others. I think that's important to do anyway. I think that you need to offer situations or adventures. One adventure may be more challenging because that's what certain people in the family or whoever's doing it need to keep an interest. Another adventure may be a little bit easier so that people that had a hard time with one have an easier time with this one, and it stays enjoyable for them. So I completely understand why Hunt a Killer would give different difficulties for different adventures. Anyhow, that is my opinion of Off the Record. And so I just want to thank everybody for watching. If you have any comments, criticisms, leave them please in the comments down below. And I hope everybody has a great week.